Our clients have been asking us for a long time, how we work with our money, what we do behind the scenes with our money, and so that is what we are going to take you behind the scenes with today. We're gonna tell you all about how we do our money dates.
Yeah, we're going to talk about projections really specifically today because we have a really great example from our most recent CEO money date that we did together looking at our upcoming year. So, as we grow our business, one of the things that we really like to do is to look at our year as a whole. And we, in 2024, we talked a lot about how we secured enough monthly recurring revenue by February to pay for the business expenses for the entire year. And we really like doing that because it gives our nervous systems like a big deep breath of relief knowing that the business is healthy. Like
Mhm.
we're good. Um if like the sky was falling, we're like we can get scrappy. We can find ways to make money for our families, but is the business healthy? Like that's what's really important to us. And so last year we talked a lot about that and what that means when we have secured enough revenue for the entire year of expenses by February. It means that every sale we make for the next 10 months, we of course put aside money for income tax savings. And after that, we can use that money to build a bigger buffer in our bank account so that we always know there's enough cash in there to pay bills if we're on vacation or if we're away. We can put money into investments that we want to make in the business if there's something that we're considering. We can know exactly how much we can pay ourselves and we can use that money to take home pay. And so that's like some of the why behind what we do with that decision. And in 2025, we just had our annual money date and we looked at our projections for the year and we were so excited. Becca, why don't you tell them about how you were when we had that conversation and what we realized that we were looking at?
I pulled up the account and I was like, "Hey, it's February, so let's look and see if we did what we had planned to do like last year, make sure that our business expenses were covered for the entire year." Because we have already planned and paid for some of our next retreat. And so we wanted to know what that might look like as like, a bird's eye picture of the whole 12 months of 2025. And so I looked, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Marley, we only need, was it 12,000 at the
Yep.
time? $12,000 in revenue, which means sales, right? The money that comes into your bank account before any of your business expenses are taken care of. We only need $12,000 to cover the expenses for the rest of the year. And then everything after that is either profit or investments back in the business or half and half, or however we decide to make the decisions with that money." And Marley was like, "Oh, have we projected everything out for the year?" And we sat and thought for a minute, and there were two or three um, payment plans that we had not added yet. And so we added those
Mhm.
and started to spiral a little bit.
It was our
That's,
retreat expenses. We had not added some of our retreat expenses yet to that
yeah,
spreadsheet. So we were like, "Oh gosh, there's all these other expenses we hadn't yet projected." So that $12,000 was starting to look like it was gonna turn into $25,000 or $30,000 in sales, which meant we were feeling like, "Oh my gosh, we're so close."
right.
And then it was like swept out from under us in all of 30 seconds, like, "Oh shoot, we're now
Right.
a lot further away than we thought." Now, we still had 10 months to sell, but
Yeah.
we had a goal, and that's the point. In that moment, we thought, "Oh, okay, here we go, back to the drawing board
Dang.
of sales." Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's interesting though about that is, so we did add those expenses in for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
So our monthly fixed expenses for the business were already there. What we had not added were the expenses we knew were coming up from for the retreat, the things that we'd already committed to. And
Yeah.
so we put those in, and that's when it looked like we were going to need a lot more revenue to cover just our business expenses for the year. And then we remembered we'd forgotten some, not forgotten, but we just hadn't had the money date to put in our client payments yet for
Yeah.
new sales that had rolled in. And so we did that next. And it was like, "Oh, we're right back at $12,000."
Yeah, it was literally identical. So, what it look like what does this mean? So, even the money girls who are really good at looking at our numbers and knowing our numbers have gut reactions that could send us into a spiral that all it took was 7 minutes of plugging some numbers into our system, looking at the right numbers
Yeah.
and looking at the bigger picture of our year at a glance, not zooming in on just this month and what's in the bank today, or praying that we have enough sales next month to tackle next month's finances. Every 30 days feels like Groundhog Day when you're looking so zoomed in like that. Um, Looking at your month is really important. But I'll say a but, it's not as important as being able to look at the bigger picture of your business at a 12-month glance, seeing how the ups and downs of high and low sales months actually affects the bottom line at the end of the year, at the end of a 12-month cycle. It's easy. It's like so easy to focus on when you have a bad month and letting that dictate how you feel about your business, how you feel about your money, what you need to be selling, how much you can pay yourself, how you're showing up in your content, and how you're showing up with your clients or in sales conversations. It's really easy to let looking at 30 days or looking at a slower month affect all of those things. But when you look at our example of what we just shared, if we didn't know our numbers, we easily could have gone into those spirals. We easily could have started showing up really in desperate sales energy in our content, if we didn't have the skill to zoom out and to look at the big picture. We thought we were gonna be so far from our goal. Like, our gut reaction was like, "Oh gosh, we're so much further from our goal than we thought. It's gonna be, like, double the sales and double the time to get there, and okay, like, back to the drawing board energy." But, and then what comes with that too is a little bit of a pity party. "Oh, man, I'm so much further than I thought I was gonna be." The desperate sales energy, a little bit of panic. Then you
Yeah.
start to focus on the wrong things. But when you can look at the data and you have the numbers, you can really focus on like what feels good. What do I actually want to be selling right now? And it just sets you up for like the right energy to bring to your audience and to your business and to be more magnetic and to have be more attractive to the right people instead of coming from a place of this desperation of I need money, I need to make sales.
I know that one thing that people ask us a lot is like projections. I know I need projections, but like it seems so hard. And a projection literally is like, right,
Yeah.
you just have to put down what you know is coming in and what you know is leaving. That is a projection. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
your
just
cell phone bill is a business expense. Let's
yeah,
say it's $80 a month. Well, you know that for the next 12 months, you have an $80 expense going out. That's what a projection is. And so being able to look at the big picture of all of the projected income, what's coming in, and all of the projected expenses of all the cell phone bills and the things that are going out, and then seeing what's left. That's what we mean when we're talking about projection. That's a really good point, Becca. We didn't even
yeah.
define that at the beginning.
Well, it just feels like such a big word, and it's
Mm,
people throw it around like it's supposed to be this thing that you're not supposed to know how to do it, but financial gurus can do it for you, and that's just not true. You
yeah.
could do this in 10 minutes today. You could look
Yeah.
at your payments that your clients that have payment plans and how long their payment plans are, plug them in. You can look at last month's expenses for your business and plug them in for the rest of the year, and you have some pretty clear projections. Will they be spot on? Maybe not, but it the point is to
Be
calm your
close.
brain
Mm,
enough, like calm your brain with some data, some information, some facts so that you can think rationally about what your next step is in business because what we see over and over and over and over again are business owners who are like I have to sell $10,000 this month. Great. Why? Like, what's the data to back that up? Well, I just
yeah.
feel like I need $10,000 because I feel like I have a lot of expenses. Well, let's see how many you actually have. Like, what's the amount you actually have? How much money do you know is already coming in? And
Yeah.
what we find over and over and over again is you don't need $10,000. Some of you might, and that's okay, or want it. But consistently, we see women who have these ginormous like I need to make in revenue 10,000, 20, 25,000 in revenue this month and next month and every month after in order to pay for my business and be able to live a lifestyle that doesn't feel like, I'm living in poverty. And when we get into it and look at their numbers, their projections, we're like, you actually only need to make a couple $1,000s more.
Yeah.
How
You know
how
what
good does that feel?
you know what's fishy?
What?
It's fishy that we talk about, "I need to increase revenue by $5,000. I need to increase revenue by $10,000, or I need to be hitting $20,000 months." It's fishy that these numbers that we have in our brain of these, like, quote, unquote, "goals" that we need to hit are always in the 5 times table, and they're very round. What we notice is that most business owners that come to us generally, I mean, there's one of two people. You either already have exactly what you need, but you're blowing it because you don't know what to pay attention to, and you're just spending your way into trying to make more money. So you already have enough if you just managed where it was going and made sure that the way you were spending it was in alignment and matched up to the goals that you actually had, instead of spending with this, like, the pay and pray
Mhm.
methodology. I'll buy this course if I hire this person, if I, or emotionally shopping your way into feeling like you need money all the time. Um, we wouldn't know anything about that though. Um, so like that's the first person. The second person is somebody who does need to make more money. And often it's like you need to make another $1,200 a month. You need to make another $600. You need to make another $2,700 a month. Like you actually have it's a very black and white number,
Mhm.
but you just don't know your numbers. So you don't know what it is. So you set an arbitrary goal and it's usually something astronomical, and it's something that is just like pulled out of thin air or what you see other people striving for. And it makes the goal so far out of reach that then you start to feel less than. You start to feel like it's going to take all this effort, time, and energy to get there. When really, if you set the goal that was based in data, like the truth of where you are today and where you want to go, it's usually not very much.
Right. Yeah. I think it's just being on social media, and if you are a business owner, likely your social media algorithm sends you a lot of business
Mm.
stuff, right? A lot of accounts that are, business coaches or even financial coaches, like a myriad of people who are in business and who are preaching that, like, if you're not making 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 months, like, you're not running a business, you're running a hobby. And I want to remind you that a lot of businesses do not even hit six figures until they're in their fourth or fifth, sometimes sixth year. So you are not behind anybody else. And if this is going off tangent, but it is on in the same vein. If you are following people who are making you feel really, really poorly about what you are currently making in business, you need to unfollow them immediately because it is not
Mhm.
going to help you make more money. It is going to help you spend more money to hopefully make more money. And then you're going to be in a deeper emotional hole than you are in right now. And I am speaking from experience because my first 2 years in business, I found myself caught in that cycle a lot. And if you can recognize you're in that cycle, money is going to feel easier. And when money feels easier, business feels easier. And I will die 1,000 deaths on that hill. Money can be easy. And when it's easy, business is so much easier.
Mm. Yeah. So we in our next episode or the one before this, I don't know when this one's going to come out. We are talking about building business sales momentum, and it goes hand in hand with your ability to project. Because when you can project, you can make a goal for yourself that's rooted in data. Like again, instead of a $5,000 sales increase, maybe you only need $1,700 in sales more to hit your goals. More sales. And when we can root our decisions in data, in fact, they're usually not as astronomical as we actually need for today's goal. I mean, you can have the bigger goal, of course, but the timeline at which you want it, it can't be from 0 to 60, right? Like we have to set a big goal and baby step our way there. So when you can project and you can look at the right numbers, it can allow you to set goals that are going to make sense for you and stretch you, because we still want you to stretch. Um, and you can build sales momentum when you're focused on the right thing. So go listen to that episode if you haven't already, or it'll be coming out next week. And just know that all of this goes hand in hand. Business owners that are going places pay attention to their money. Every business owner needs to know their numbers because you need to make decisions rooted in data
Mhm.
instead of decisions rooted in the drama of the unknown. So we will see you in that episode if you haven't listened to it yet, or it'll be coming out next. But let us know what out of this episode really spoke to you. Come over to Instagram and just shoot us a message in our DMs. We love to hear your biggest takeaways, what you want to hear more of. If there's something that we poked at in an episode and you'd like us to dive a little deeper on that, we are open books. We're happy to do that. And we'd love to hear what you want to hear more of. So we'll see you in the next one.